Hello and welcome to Crypto Novus. My name is Chris Brown and I am your host for those of you who are new to the channel. Today I wanted to put together a 2021 price prediction for Stellar Lumens. Of course, with all of the price action above 40,000 for Bitcoin, the altcoin market is beginning to heat up, and Stellar Lumens had a great week last week with a price increase of over 90% within like a 7-day period of time. So I thought it'd be interesting to take a look and see where this price could go by the tail end of the year. So this video is kind of broken into three parts. We're taking a look at kind of the history of Stellar Lumens. We're taking a look at their successes in 2020, and then at the very tail end, we'll take a look at where I think the prices could wind up being, what the price range might be by December of 2021. So if those things are of interest to you, please stay tuned and we will jump right into it. But first, I want to give a shout out to Bitcoin IRA. So for those of you who are interested in investing in crypto other than through the traditional exchanges, and you'd like to roll over an existing IRA or a self-directed IRA or even start an IRA, Bitcoin IRA is a company that I would highly recommend. So give it some thought and take a look at them. They can be reached at bitcoinira.com. Okay, as always, I must say this video is not and should not be perceived as crypto investment advice or advisory information. It is for educational purposes. The whole point is to help you evaluate this coin and to do your own research, and so that you can make your own choices when it comes to wise investing and the implementation of your own crypto investment strategy. Okay, so let's jump into this. XLM Basics. So since 2017, let's see what has happened with XLM. There's been a reduction of lumens. The network itself has grown. Anchors have grown. It has achieved improved ranking and is now within the top 10 of all of the crypto coins. There's obviously been more education on the projects and the partnerships that they've developed. There is a CBDC development that they have with a particular country, and the overall global community of Stellar Lumens has increased. So let's look at the number of lumens. Back in 2015, when the company first started, it had mined basically 105 billion lumens, with no more to be mined. And now back at that time, that was somewhat of a problem because there were so many coins that the value of Stellar Lumens just simply was not climbing. So in 2019, the community got together. It elected to reduce the number from 105 billion down to 50 billion lumens, and with 20 of them being released to the public and the remaining 30 to be in the control of the Stellar Development Foundation. At presently, there are 22 billion lumens that have been released to the public, and of course that has impacted the price of Stellar Lumens. And it's important to remember this when we start looking at price in terms of where it could potentially go, because there's less coins now than there were before. One big development for them is that Stellar announced on January 4th of this year that they have a signed agreement and a partnership with the Ukraine, and they will be helping them develop their own CBDC. So the parameters of this partnership is that they're going to be in cooperation in the development of the virtual asset for the country. They will help support in regulating it and implementing it into circulation within their country, and facilitating the development of digital currency of the central bank of the Ukraine. So this is a really big deal for, I would think, any project, any company to be able to have this kind of influence and opportunity to help a country develop their own digital asset. So let's take a look at their 2020 successes, and they had quite a few. So let's look at their network growth. So the Stellar Lumens network did grow across the board, showing more maturity, reliability, and usability for Stellar. One of the most notable measures in growth was the number of processed operations, which you can see down there, increased by 70%. So in April of 2020, they hit 1 billion mark in terms of their operations since they began in 2015. And that alone was a great milestone. But later on in that year, they hit an additional 553 million more operations. So you can kind of see the percentage of increase. Total assets increased by 38.3%. Overall growth in assets. So much of this growth is coming from use cases, which is really, really important to understand and to see that that is in fact the case. So you got Stellar Lumens has seen a 61.2 increase in the number of relevant assets on the network and a 21x increase in the volume of the assets since the start of the year. Their anchor network. So Stellar Lumens has increased their anchor network, and kind of see by the map where they're located. Primarily, they've got anchor locations in the United States and Africa. They've got a few in South America, and then a few in the eastern and western part of Europe. These anchors are opening up critical cross-border corridors for payment flow that both consumer and businesses are focused on. These anchors are the hubs, if you will, that help implement the use cases of the Stellar network. This is also good. What investments have they made? The Stellar Development Foundation brought new participants into their ecosystem through their enterprise fund. And in the process, what they did, the enterprise fund vested in 4 companies at a total of $9.2 million. And the 4 companies is DST, OQ, Satoshi Pay, Abra, and the Settle Network. So this is good. That again, the company is growing. They're investing in their network. They're increasing their network and their stability within the marketplace. So let's jump into price predictions. Okay, as I mentioned before, Stellar is number 10 in the top 10 coins on either CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. You can see them here as they are listed, and their market cap is a little over $6 billion. Okay, so to kind of figure out the way that I approached trying to figure out what the value of Stellar could be in the future is I took a look at Bitcoin, and I took a look at where the projections of Bitcoin are. What's the range? I've only picked 3. There's a ton, as people already know, but I thought these were 3 good ones to look at, because right now, since Bitcoin's rally above 40,000, the total crypto market cap has exceeded $1 trillion. At the time I put this together, it was at 1.1 trillion. Again, I will repeat, and everyone else was, it's institutional investment that is driving the market at this present time, and it will continue to do so. And if it's taking Bitcoin to staggering highs, can you imagine the staggering highs that it could take the altcoins? Nicholas with JP Morgan, he's a strategist. He predicted that Bitcoin could be at 146,000 by December. If that's the case, that means the Bitcoin market cap could be at 2.5, with the overall crypto market being at around 3.2 trillion. Jack Purdy, he's a researcher. His guesstimate is that Bitcoin could be as high as 276,000, but that's not the highest I've heard. That gives Bitcoin a market cap prediction of 5.8 trillion, with the overall crypto market at 7.7 trillion. And then, of course, everyone knows about Plan B stock to flow. Their model is based on 100,000. They have tweeted as much as 288,000, but if you stick with the 100,000, that puts the Bitcoin market cap at 2.1 and the overall crypto market at 2.8. So bottom line, we're looking at still, in this run, a $3 trillion market cap. So let's take a look at how Stellar performed in the last run, and where was it at with its all-time high, and then how is it performing presently, and how was 2020? Back in 2018, on January 3rd, that's when Stellar reached its all-time high. At that point in time, it had approximately 17 billion coins in circulation. The market cap on January 3rd was over $16 billion. And the total market cap was 766. So with a total market cap in the crypto space being at 766, XLM had a market dominance of 2.1%. We got to keep that in mind. The all-time price for XLM was 91 cents, and that was basically 0.06% of a Bitcoin. So now Stellar's ranked number 10. Its current circulation supply is a little over 22 billion, which is about 44% of its 50 billion. Its present day market cap is 6.2 billion, and that's with a market cap of around just a little over 1 trillion. Its market dominance today is 0.61%. So in order for it to go back to its original 2.1%, there's a growth there of about 3.4x. Its price today is at 29 cents. So to reach its all-time high from where it's at right now, that would be 3.1% or 3.1x. So that's consistent with the 3.4. But here's where it gets kind of interesting. In order for it to reach its all-time high price relative to Bitcoin, right now it's sitting at 0.007% of Bitcoin. It would have to do an 8.5x in order for it to reach the price of Bitcoin. Now, in looking at what it did in 2020, the price of Xlm started at 4 cents and reached its yearly high was 20 cents. So basically that was 5x. This year alone, it started off at 13 cents, reached a high of 40 cents, which was 3x just within the first couple of weeks of the year. So I think what I'm laying down here is a foundation that for this, I can clearly see if it's already done 3x within a couple of weeks, for it to do 5x like it did last year seems very, very probable. And to go as much as 8.5x in order for it to maintain its relative position to Bitcoin in this bull run as it did in the last bull run, that certainly seems very probable as well. So I'm going to show you now a couple of different scenarios, and the numbers were staggering to me. I did the math more than once to verify if I was looking at this correctly. Okay, so here we are, scenarios 1 and 2. So I did scenario 1, assuming a Bitcoin price of 146,000. If Bitcoin reaches 146,000 and XLM maintains its position or regains its position relative to Bitcoin of being 0.006%, that means the XLM price would be as high as $8.76, or it will 30x from where it is right now. I'm assuming a market circulation supply is going to increase a little bit from the 22 billion to maybe 24, since they did about 2 billion in the last year. So that would put a total market cap of over $210 billion for XLM. Now, if the crypto market cap was at 3 trillion, that would be about 6.3%. So I'm thinking that might be on a little high. So then I said, let me just see if it was just 2% of the 3 trillion, what would it be? And that would be a market cap of $66 billion, or an individual price on each lumen of $2.75, or a 9.4x. Now that seems pretty reasonable to me, considering what we just looked at on the previous page of the potential of a 3x, a 5x, or an 8.5x. So that's that $2.75 really does seem very reasonable to me. The 30x of almost $9, kind of stretching it. However, let's take a look at scenario 2. If we take a look at some of the higher projections of Bitcoin for this bull run, being as much as 276,000, and I've seen higher, and I'm going to do a video on that. Again, if XLM maintain a relative price to Bitcoin of 0.006, it would put XLM at $16 or 57x. That seems like crazy to me, but that's what the math lays out. With circulation supply at 24 billion, it gives us a market cap of 397 billion. Again, if I look at the relationship to the overall crypto market cap, because at a price tag of that, I'm guessing that the market cap for the overall crypto market would be closer to a little over over $7 trillion. So that gives a market dominance of 5.1%. Again, I think that's a little high. If I go down on market dominance to 2%, XLM being 2% of the total crypto market, that would still put it at $154 billion, or $6.41, or 22x. So that's on the high side. That's a lot. I mean, I did not. You can tell by my reaction, I did not expect those numbers to be quite as large, but I do believe it's possible in scenario 2, and I think it's very probable with scenario 1, because I definitely see 150,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, and I think a lot of people do, and I think that's now become a conservative number. So with that said, what I did is I said, okay, if 2021, the price range for XLM is somewhere between 275 to 876, that's dealing with scenario one. Average price is 575, doesn't seem out of the question. So if you look at that increase, that's an increase of basically 19.8 or 20x. So going back to the whole stimulus conversation, if someone was to take their stimulus check and invest it all in XLM, there's the potential that that could be 20x, or their $600 could become $12,000. Again, this is not absolute, but it is something that you could use as a potential estimate for what could possibly happen, and something for you to watch if you make the choice to invest in Stellar Lumens. Again, top 10 exchanges to take a look to where you can invest in Stellar Lumens. And last but not least, if you found this information to be helpful, please subscribe to the community. Would love to have you be a part of it and to follow the channel. Also, like the video as well. Again, my name is Chris Brown. I'm the host and the creator of the channel. This is Crypto Novus, where newbies become masters. See you guys in the next video.